Hi, so farms. Welcome to Sew Kiddies with Chemtiji. I'm delighted to have you here. In today's tutorial, I'll be learning how to cut and sew this beautiful board dress. If this is what you are interested in, kindly stay tuned. So I used 14 yards of outer net, then 3 yards of inner net, 2.5 yards of shining face satin. You can also use duchess or doll face or lace for the upper part. So a matching zipper and thread. So this shining face, I'll be using it for both lining and the outer part. Next thing I did was to fold out my fabric into 4. So this is what I'll be using for both the outer. I'll be using this for both the outer piece and the inner piece. So one will be for lining and one will be for the main fabric. So I folded my fabric into 4. That's for the zipper allowance, and this folded part is for the front bodice. So all my measurements will be going towards this direction. So after this, I mark out a starting line. So this is where all my measurements will be starting from, and from that end I took down the half length of this dress, which is 10 inches. Our half length is 10 inches, so the remaining inches will be for the sewing allowance. Next thing I did was to measure out a shoulder divided by 2 plus half-inch sewing allowance, and from that point I came down with half-inch shoulder slope. So from this shoulder slope, I'll take down the armhole depth. So this is where the armhole will be stopping, and whatever I have here, I will take it down to the armhole depth and mark it. This is just to ensure that my line is straight. So I'll connect it out like so, and I'll also divide our chest by 4 and add 1 inch sewing allowance. Okay, that's 1.5 inch sewing allowance. Next thing I did was to take the neck width of 2.5 inches for the front, then neck depth 2.5 inches, then the neck depth of the back will be just 1 inches. So both front and back piece, the neck width is 2.5, while the neck depth of the back is 1. The neck depth of the front is 2.5. So I'll be connecting the neck width to the shoulder slope like so, and I will also add half-inch sewing allowance. This allowance will be used to join both shoulders together. So I'll connect it out like so, and after this I will mark out the midpoint of the armhole and went inward with half-inch and connect the armhole like so. You can actually use your free hand to do this. Please, if you've watched up to this point and you derive any value in this video, just encourage me by subscribing and liking this video. It's cost free, it won't cost you anything, and it also helps YouTube to recommend this video to a wider audience. So next thing I did was to cut it out. On this channel, I promise to bring you valuable content that you can monetize. I bring tutorials that you can sew and sell for and make profit. So just stay tuned. Turn on your post notifications so that you'll be notified whenever you upload new content. And I'll be using this front piece. I'll place it on this other fabric like so. I'll be using it to cut out. So one of these will be serving as the main fabric and one will be serving as the lining. So I pinned it down and use it to cut it out. Please don't forget to subscribe, please. This is just a way of encouraging me to upload new content. And after this, I went ahead to iron interfacing on the one that will be serving as the main fabric. So I just ironed this just to give it a little firmness. Next thing I did was to place right side facing each other, and I'll be joining it at the shoulder line. So right side facing, I'll be joining both shoulders together. I'll repeat same thing for the lining. So whatever I do to the main fabric, I will also do it to the lining. So this is the lining here. I'll place right side facing, and I'll also join it by the shoulder. And please subscribe, please subscribe and like this video. This way YouTube algorithm will push this content to a wider audience, please. And this is what it's looking like. And after sewing, I went ahead to iron the shoulder seam flat. So I'll be placing both lining and the fabric together. I'll place it right side facing each other like so. And I'll ensure that the shoulder seam is matching up. So I'll match up the shoulder seam. I'll pin it down. I will also do same thing to the other part of the shoulder. So after this, I will go ahead and sew 1/2 inch round the neckline. So I'll just sew 1/2 inch round the neckline down to the zipper allowance. I'll sew it like so, and I will give it a little notch and turn it out. I'll do same thing to the armhole. So I'll sew it with 1/2 inch, and after sewing, I'll just notch it round. This way the neckline will be relaxed, and I'll also trim it out a little. After this, I will give it a very good press so that everything will lay flat. Please subscribe if you've not. Please don't forget to subscribe, please. Why is it hard for some of you to subscribe? I noticed that most of you watch my videos without liking or without subscribing. So next thing I did was to match up both front and back piece together like so, making sure the armhole line aligns. So I'll be sewing with the 1.5 inch allowance I gave while cutting it out. I will also repeat same thing to the other side of it, match both front and back piece together like so, making sure the armhole line aligns. Then I will sew it down with 1.5 inch sewing allowance. Please, most of you watch my videos without subscribing. Please encourage me by subscribing. I'm pleading, I'm on my knees. Please subscribe, thank you. So this is what the upper bodice is looking like. I will iron this out very flat later. So this is what it's looking like, and I've also went ahead to cut out the down part, and I've also gathered it using a waist circumference plus 2 inches zipper allowance. So I've joined everything together, the 3 layers of the net. I've matched it together. This is the front piece, so I will take the lining out of it and I will join the net to the main fabric. That's the front piece. I will join it like so. So when joining this part, ensure that you are not joining it together with your lining, because the lining will be joining it separately to its own lining too. So this is how we'll be joining it. I will join just the net to the outer part of the upper bodies. I don't know if I'm making sense. And this is how I got the length of the net that I cut. So our waist circumference is 26 divided by 3.14, so that's the formula for semicircle. I got 8.3. Then 8.3 plus 1 inches allowance, that's 9.3. That's for the waist circumference. Then that 9.3 plus the down part, that's the length of this dress, which is 25. That's how I got 34. So the total length of this lining will be 34. So from the point there, I marked 34. I folded this in a triangle form because I'm cutting out a semicircle. Remember, the radius that I got while doing the calculation was 9.3. So from this point here, I'll mark out 9.3 and cut it out. So this will be serving as the lining. I'll be using this to cut out under net for this dress because I intend to add under net to it. So I'll be using this lining piece to cut out the under net. This is the semicircle flare. I'll fold it back and fold my under net on it and use it to trace it out. So this is how I folded the lining and the under net too. You fold your fabric into two this way and you fold it in this way again. So this is just like folding it in a triangle form and you cut out. So this is how I folded the lining and this under net. This is how you fold for semicircle. So this is it. And I'll be explaining how I'll be attaching my boning to this under net. So let's take for instance that this paper is this under net because my table is not wide enough to show the entire net. So I'll be illustrating with this paper. So let's say this is the under net now. So I will go down with, let's say I'm going down with 5 inches. Just watch closely, you understand what I'm trying to explain. So from that 5 inches, I'll mark out another 5 inches. This is just a guide. That's where I'll be placing my bias and that's where I'll be passing my bone. So that's what I will do. Round the net, I will chalk it down round like so, 5 5 5 5 5, and that's where I'll be placing my bias and I'll be passing my boning through the bias. So I just went ahead and placed the lining on top of the net and cut it out. Please, have you subscribed? Don't forget to do that and give this video a like. If you have learned anything so far, please like this video. So now we are trying to cut out under net for this dress. So this net will help lift the dress just to give it that very full effect. So this is the net. I've gone ahead to sew my boning channels with the fabric. So I'm trying to explain what I did on this other part. My boning is not enough, so this channel is just 3. But if you have enough boning, please make sure your boning is at least 5 or more. That way the whole dress will be very full and it will stand. Because this boning was not enough, so this board dress was kind of shaking. So from that end there, I marked out 3 inches, but after sewing I realized that I couldn't tie the rope at the waistline because of the boning. So when sewing yours, your first line should be at least 5 inches below your waistline. I come again. When sewing yours, please don't make the mistake I made, because I finally loosed everything out and took it down because it was so close to the waistline. I couldn't tie it on the baby's waist because of the boning. So from your waistline, come at least 5 inches downward. That way the boning will not interfere with the rope. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to explain. So that's it. I'll sew the channel on that line and I'll pass my boning. So this is what is looking like. I've also used the fabric to create channel for the rope that I'll be using on the waistline. So I went in with my safety pin, close it up with my paper tape and pass the rope. So this is what I'll be tying around the baby's waist when she wears it. You can actually use elastic for this, but it's late and I didn't have any elastic available, so I opted for rope. You can actually use your elastic for this. So after that, I went inward. I closed it down with 1 inch like so. So when closing it down, just lift out the casing. Don't close it together with the casing. So this is what I'll be doing. I'll be passing the boning through the casing I made earlier, and after passing it, I will cut it out. Please, when cutting, just make sure you have at least 2 to 3 inches excess. Don't cut exactly what you have there. So cut at least 2 to 3 inches excess. Then you place it like so. Place both boning like so and hold it down with your paper tape. This might be a little struggle because this boning is very strong, so you too, you have to be strong while doing this. So place both boning together like so, and you close it down with your paper tape. This is just a way of securing both boning together so that it won't be shifting. And after that, I went inward to close up the remaining fabric with my needle and thread. That way too, I'll be closing up this boning too, just to have a neat finishing. So I folded this excess inward like so, and folded it again. So I will do same thing to the two. And next thing I did was to join both linings together, then pleat a little net at the base of this lining just to give it a bow effect. And I also closed it up with lining, just a long piece to close it up. That way the lining will not be choking the baby. So for the structure sleeve, this is what I'll be using. I'll be using this crinoline mesh. You can actually use crinoline. The length of this mesh is 10 inches, and I just folded it and secured it down. So I'll be using this sewable boning on the both edges just to give it structure. And I also went ahead to cut out channel for it. So this 3.5 inches by 12 inches. This way I will have excess fabric to fold both tips together. I don't know if I'm making sense. So this is 10 inches, but the main casing is more than 10, so I'll be choking the excess inside and I will stitch it down. So I sewed it, iron it out like so, and put in the mesh inside. This is what I'll be using for the structure sleeve. And this is what it's looking like. So I'll sew both rough end I'll push those rough end inside and sew it. So this is what I'll be using for the embellishment. I don't actually know the names of this. I have my sea bead or sand bead, and I have this needle. This beading needle is very tiny because the sand bead is tiny. So I've passed my thread into it, and this is how I will be beading it. Just watch closely. I will go in with the needle like so, then I'll pull out the needle. I'll repeat same thing again and tie it firmly. Then I'll go in again and tie it. This way I've secured the thread. Please, if you've watched up to this point, please encourage me by subscribing, please. So next thing I did was I pick 5 sand bead. That's 2, 3, 4, and 5. And one of the droplets. So 5 sand bead, 1 droplet. And I'll push it to the end like so. So watch closely. So I'll be passing my needle back through the sand bead. Watch very closely, you get what I did here. So I'll be passing it through back into the sand bead. That's the needle going back into the sand bead down to the very first sand bead. I don't know if it's sand bead or sea bead, or shy understand what I'm trying to say. So I've passed it out like so, and I'll be putting the needle back into the fabric too. So this is what is looking like. This is what it should look like. So I'll put the needle back into the fabric and I'll bring it out like so. So if you can't eyeball this, you can just mark half or 1 inches interval if you can't eyeball it. But I didn't mark it. I was just using my eyeball to gauge it. So I'll pick 5 sand bead again, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So I'll go in with the droplets. The droplets will be the last thing that will be on it. So I'll pass the needle back into the sand bead. So just watch closely. I'll pass the needle back into the sand bead. Like so. You have to be very patient while doing this, and this might take a little time, especially if you are a beginner in beading just like me. So that's it, and I'll take the needle back into the fabric and I'll bring it out. So this is what you'll be doing till you get to the end of the dress. This is what you'll be doing till you get to the end. You'll be doing same thing to the other side, and I'll fix it on the baby. And this is what the dress is looking like with the undernet, and this is what the dress is looking like without the undernet or underskirt. Thanks for watching and seeing you in my next video. Bye.